Integrated GPU. An integrated GPU is a graphics processor that is built right into the same chip as your CPU. Integrated GPUs are common in laptops focused on battery life and everyday tasks because it's cheap to make and it doesn't consume a lot of electricity. Because of this, your laptop battery can last through an entire day without needing to be recharged. But while an integrated GPU is good enough for browsing the web or doing basic office work, it comes with a massive problem if you want to run heavy software. Because unlike a real graphics card, an integrated GPU doesn't have its own memory to store textures and graphics data. Instead, it steals a portion of your computer's regular RAM to use as video memory. So if you try to play modern AAA games, the data transfer becomes too slow, which makes the game stutter and give you an unplayable frame rate. And just a heads up, there is a major secret to fixing this. Because it steals from your system RAM, if your computer only has one stick of RAM installed, it runs in single channel mode, which creates a massive traffic jam for the data. But if you use 2 sticks of RAM to enable dual channel, it literally doubles the data highway. This simple upgrade can boost your gaming performance by up to 40%. Oh yeah, also if you are buying a desktop processor, you can tell if it has an integrated GPU by the suffix. AMD uses the G suffix like Ryzen 5 5600G. And for Intel, just remember that if it has an F suffix, it means it doesn't have an integrated GPU at all. Dedicated GPU. Dedicated GPU is a separate expansion card that you plug directly into your computer's motherboard, and it's built specifically to handle demanding graphics workloads. Unlike an integrated GPU, a dedicated GPU comes with its own completely separate memory called VRAM, so it doesn't need to borrow anything from your system RAM. This means it can load high-resolution textures instantly, which is why you can play heavy games on high settings with smooth FPS. But the catch is, because it's so powerful, it consumes a massive amount of electricity and produces an insane amount of heat. That is why it's physically massive, often coming with 2 or 3 big fans just to keep it from overheating and crashing. Another thing you need to know is that the bottleneck. You can't just buy a brand new RTX 4090 and put it with an old Core i3 processor. The graphics card will process frames so fast that the weak CPU physically cannot feed it data fast enough, so the expensive GPU ends up just sitting there doing nothing. And regarding the suffix, NVIDIA uses TI or Super to indicate an upgraded version, while AMD uses XT or XTX for their maximum performance versions. Mobile GPU. Mobile GPU is a specific version of a dedicated graphics card that is made for gaming laptops. When you buy a laptop, you might see that it says it has an RTX 4080 inside, but it is actually very different from the RTX 4080 you buy for a desktop PC. See, because a laptop is so thin, it physically cannot handle the extreme heat and power consumption of a full desktop graphics card. So manufacturers heavily limit the power wattage, which is called TGP, and lower the clock speeds. So even if the name is exactly the same, the mobile GPU is significantly weaker. But here is the biggest scam you have to watch out for, which is the MUX switch. In most gaming laptops, even when the powerful dedicated GPU renders a game, it is forced to send those finished frames through the weak integrated GPU first before it reaches your screen. This creates a massive bottleneck that drops your FPS by up to 15%. A MUX switch is a physical hardware chip that allows the dedicated GPU to completely bypass the integrated GPU and connect straight to the screen. So always make sure the laptop has a MUX switch or Advanced Optimus, otherwise you are literally throwing away performance. Workstation GPU. Workstation GPU is a special type of graphics card designed strictly for professionals like engineers, architects, and high-end video editors. At a glance, they might look exactly like a normal gaming GPU, but they cost 3 to 4 times more. And the reason isn't because they give you higher FPS in games. In fact, they perform about the same as regular gaming cards in video games. What makes a Workstation GPU special is because it has something called ECC memory, or error correcting code. So when a professional is rendering a massive 3D architectural design that takes days to finish, a tiny data error in the RAM could corrupt the entire project. The ECC memory automatically finds and fixes those mistakes so the computer doesn't crash. External GPU. External GPU, or eGPU, is a setup where you take a full desktop graphics card and put it inside a special metal box that has its own power supply, and then you connect it to a thin laptop using a Thunderbolt cable. This was created because some people wanted to have a light laptop for working at a cafe, but still want to play heavy games when they get home. So you plug the cable in, and your weak laptop suddenly gets the power of a dedicated graphics card. But the problem is, a Thunderbolt cable can only send a limited amount of data at a time compared to plugging the GPU directly into a motherboard. Because of this connection bottleneck, you actually lose a huge chunk of the graphics card's real performance. So even though it works, it's very expensive and not really efficient for most people. Server and Data Center GPU. Server GPU is a massive graphics processor used in enterprise data centers, and the most unique thing about it is that it doesn't even have any ports to plug in a monitor. That's because these GPUs, like the NVIDIA A100 or AMD Instinct, aren't meant for displaying graphics to a screen. Instead, they are used for massive parallel computing tasks like running cloud gaming platforms or simulating complex scientific data. Also, unlike regular GPUs that have their own fans, server GPUs are completely flat and passive, built into the server racks to blast cold air through them, allowing them to run at full power 24 hours a day without crashing. AI GPU. AI GPU is the most expensive and advanced type of graphics processor today. While regular GPUs are built to render 3D graphics for video games, AI GPUs are specifically designed with special tensor cores that are built to handle the massive mathematical calculations needed for artificial intelligence. So when companies train huge language models, they use thousands of these AI GPUs working together to process billions of pieces of data at the same time. This is strictly for massive tech companies and data scientists, not for regular everyday users. And to feed data into those cores fast enough, they completely abandon standard GDDR memory and use something called high bandwidth memory, or HBM. This memory is stacked physically right next to the chip, allowing data to move at terabytes per second so the GPU never has to wait. But because these chips run at absolute maximum capacity nonstop, they generate a terrifying amount of heat that regular air cooling simply cannot handle. That is why server racks packed with AI GPUs, like the NVIDIA H100, usually require massive liquid cooling systems just to keep them from melting. Also, to make sure all these thousands of chips can talk to each other without lagging, they are connected using a special high-speed bridge called NVLink, essentially turning the entire data center into one giant supercomputer. Cloud GPU. Cloud GPU is a service where instead of buying an expensive graphics card yourself, you rent a server GPU or an AI GPU over the internet. So if a student or an independent developer needs to render a massive 3D animation or train an AI model, they don't need to spend thousands of dollars on physical hardware. They can just use their weak laptop to connect to a cloud provider, do the heavy processing on the rented GPU remotely, and get the finished result sent back to their screen. But of course, the catch is that you need a very fast and stable internet connection. Otherwise, the whole process will be laggy and unresponsive. By the way, I have also made a video about every VRAM size explained and another one, every type of RAM explained. So don't forget to watch them later, okay?